So finally, it is time to chase these guys. I've so been looking forward to this. Desert Bighorn have made their way to Rancho here in the Hunter Call of the Wild. Since they initially came out, that was something that I was hoping to see on this map. They're finally here, and we're gonna go and check them out and see how they look. And there we go, first Desert Bighorn. Look how thin they are. 80 to 103, 57 to 80. I think their weights are different too. Ooh, don't go down there. If that's the case, that's a huge step in the right direction for the Hunter Call of the Wild. Mexican Bobcat and the Bobcat over on New England, they used to have the same weights, and of course they changed that, and it just makes a lot of sense. For an animal that's out here in an arid climate, that doesn't need to be nearly as heavy, doesn't have to have the body mass to stay warm, I think that looks really good. So I brought the 6.5, gonna be perfect for these 300 meter shots. I'm gonna be curious with two things. One, do they score the same as Rocky Mountain Bighorn? Is diamond requirement and all that the same? And then two, is the enormous heart that the Rocky Mountain Bighorn have, of course, over on a ski ridge and Silver Ridge Peaks and stuff, is that gonna be the same with these guys? Whoa. And I was more under the impression, based on what they had said in the initial article, that it was gonna be kind of fur type differences and stuff. I thought maybe they'd be a little thinner, less fluffy, but I think anyway, it's a little bit of a model change with these guys. Here is our first one, a level 3 laying in there. I do think the fur's different, lighter. You'd imagine that sun beating down on them all the time, they'd be a little bit whiter in color. That looks pretty darn good. So this guy's a 119 silver. Oh, look at that. Way thinner animal. I think the face, the facial structure is different. You see that ridge on the nose and stuff, up under the jaw here. And then scoring wise, that is the same. Now, I don't know in real life, if you hunt a Desert Bighorn, you hunt one in the Rocky Mountains. They do have a huge heart, by the way. So their organs and stuff seem to be the same. Unless the other ones are just that fluffy, I still think there's a little bit of, a model change. But, yeah, I don't know. Desert Bighorn, Rocky Mountain Bighorn, if one is more likely to score higher than the other, I think I'm fine with that. As far as I'm aware, they can kind of get huge, in either kind of location. Where did this guy end up? Because we saw him dive into the water all the way back here. So another thing that's going to be interesting is, looking at these fur types and stuff and seeing, if we see this sort of lighter coloration throughout. So this is the gray. I'm pretty sure I have a gray diamond Rocky Mountain Bighorn. I'm going to tax this. I know it's not the most impressive sheep ever, but since I'm pretty darn sure anyway, we have a fur to match that, we can see if they are different, and I'm pretty sure that's the case. I feel like I see lighter fur, white down the legs. I couldn't tell you if that's actually, if that's been there with the Rockies, but so far, I am pretty darn impressed. But what we need is one of these guys with some more headgear, because I think that, smaller frame as far as the animal's actual size and stuff goes, much smaller head and stuff, I think it's gonna make the big ones appear even bigger. Kicked a couple of ewes out of there, by the way. Look how, thin they are. That's a mule deer. 57 to 80 on that. 34 to 57, even smaller. Might try to get that one. Looks like the gray again. Gotta get right in there with the 6.5. Just feels like an appropriate gun to hunt Desert Bighorn with. So I'm curious. That looks... Okay, I think she's fine. Looked really light there for a second. I'm curious what max weight for a Bighorn would be. I think... Or a Desert Bighorn, I should say. I think we'll be able to find out. At some point, surely we can find one that's, I don't know, if he's maybe 160-ish plus, we can assume it's max weight. Gonna be a whole lot lower than 160, though. So we got this ewe that landed here. It is the gray once again. Didn't notice it with the ram, but white on the nose, actually above the eyes there. Pretty darn impressed so far, and I think we might have made a vertebrae shot up here. She's laying right up here in the open. In the sun, for sure, it looked really light colored. Get the eyes and stuff on him. So that is a 69 light brown. Nice, look at those horns. Real thin little things. I don't know, I thought we shot into the back like that. Either way, we will take it. Light brown fur in the sun, something to pay attention to. That's got the white down the legs too, so maybe that's the thing with the Rockies. I probably don't normally inspect them that closely. Something to pay attention to, though. I mean, that could be max. I didn't pay attention to the weight of, the level 3 that we shot, but we're looking at like a 24 kilo range. You know, 103 to 127. So if that's not max, 151 is going to be. And looking at the size of the things, I kind of feel like that might not be the case. So we could well be looking at a big one here. Problem is, it was on to us before we saw it. That's it there? It's a decent looking 4. Certainly not a monster. I think it could go either way. Figures, that's not going to help us. Figures it snuck through there before we got to see much of it. All the way out there, 360 meters. He did just stop for a second. Went nervous. That's the right gun to have for that job. The question is, were we a tiny bit too far back? What do you run out of there? It's going to get him, because I think worst case it'll be intestines, but hopefully it was back in the lungs. Well, so much for intestines. I don't know what we hit. It's another one. I guess some use coming out of there. We might as well go ahead and get that. Would be nice if we could have made that shot on the one longer range. There's a whole bunch of them. What is that one? That's a 2. I don't know if it's the level 2 that we saw before, so we might need to hit that again. It ain't dead yet. Another thing to look at, by the way, 80 to 103.75 is that other estimate. If the 127s are like 0.00, I'd feel pretty good about the odds of that being the maximum weight. So this guy was not that, so we can't check on his track, but as we go back, that's something I want to take a look at. This is a 129. He's 93 kilo. So at least worth paying attention to. That's light gray. Pretty similar to the one that we had before. Obviously the heart hitbox needs to be fixed, or just the size of the visual thing here needs to change. So, let's go check that track, and looking like we're gonna have to track him down and hit him again. Figured he had to be down in there. Just couldn't see him and spooked him out. He's 25 to 50. I don't know if he trots or does that again maybe? But when I have some breath. That hit him again. I don't know if it hit him well, but it'll make sure he goes down. Nothing you standing there. We can at least go and take a look. I think probably this guy's likely to be just over that 103 mark. By the way, the track, it does max at 127 flat. So my guess is that's the max weight. In which case, I like it. That's, what, 33 kilo lower than max weight Rocky Mountain Bighorn. By the way, still a very low bleed rate, so I don't think we hit him particularly well that time either. Yeah, to me, this looks like maybe just into the max weight range. He's 166, and yeah, 104 kilo. I feel very confident saying 127 is max weight. We were too low on that, really. The 6.5 is so flat shooting, I'm shocked. Because I thought we aimed up in here. Maybe not. And then, yeah, intestines on the run. Good deal then, so I think we know the max weight range. First kind of decent one. Still want to find one a little better than that, but at least we're, you know, kind of learning what to go after. That's a pretty decent looking ram. 103 to 127 again, up to 191, whole bunch of U's over there with them. And maybe I just don't hunt Rancho enough, but I didn't think that the old Rocky Mountain Bighorn drink time was 11 to 14 on Rancho. I thought it was 12 to 15, but I know mule deer drink time is different here. If I actually pick up the right track. There you go, 11 to 14. So, like I said, not sure on that, but if you want to go and hunt Desert Bighorn, that is the time to go after him here on Rancho. So, that is our decent one, 300 flat. That time I think that'll get into the lungs with the 6.5. He's going nowhere, and fortunately did not dive into the water. And by the way, I did check on the spreadsheet coming over. Bighorn drink time on Rancho prior to this update was indeed 11 to 14, so the more you know. Anyway, this guy comes in at 167. Again, with like the thinner neck and facial structure, kind of scrawnier front shoulders. Even that looks pretty good. But we know they do get a whole lot bigger. And, you know, apparently they've been drinking at this time on Rancho for a while. But as I said, some of the times are different on this map. So if you're planning on coming out here and hunting some of these guys, that might be the ideal time to go. I like the looks of that back there. That's a big old 4 up to 195. And at the right angle, that one almost looked bigger. That guy's definitely the better one. I'm not sure he's huge, but at least one of the best ones we've seen today. Whole bunch of them down here. By the way, this is the first spot I checked, like this lake. And there weren't any here. Now, the interesting thing is, I believe, so you see like Desert Bighorn Sheep all the way at the bottom there? I think all of the Rocky Mountain Bighorn Sheep zones went away. And of course, there was a Bighorn population reset, so might have had something to do with that, but I didn't think pop resets always got rid of the zones. Anyway, I find it interesting, like, I checked down here, there weren't any. I always thought this was good for Bighorn. Plenty down here now. I don't know if it's just coming at a later time of day or what. You know, I think I see why the other one looks bigger. This is one of those ones where the horns flare way out. I mean, you'll probably outscore him, but not by much. Might try to get both, and of course, the way he's walking down there, that's going to make life tough. That's probably doable. Come back up here, there we go. Get that shot. Ooh, that was way low. See if he'll do the thing. A lot of times they'll like run and kind of skid. Second shot should be enough to bring him down. And at least we made the shot on this one. High bleed rate. I don't know what we hit. Just up a lung. 166 for him, so based on estimates, he will outscore him. They've all been, though, like our max ones, just a few kilo into the max weight range. This one's not dead yet. I think it'll bring him down. I hope so. And not a horrible track, but ran pretty far. What fur is this? Okay, that's light brown for the Rams. He's a 159. I definitely don't think they're as light as the used, which I guess would make sense. As expected, shot way under the vitals. Second shot, just the fact that we hit him anywhere, we'll take it. That at least brought him down. And most of the good areas I know for Bighorn, we've now checked. So I know they're going to drink down on the coast. It's so thick down there, I don't know that I'll bother. But like over in here and stuff, I imagine we can find them. So we'll start to give that a look. That looks like a monster pronghorn. Up to 114, he's a level 4. Can we get that? 257, man, if he had done that again, I feel pretty good about it. But we need an actual, at least somewhat broadside chance. Still going over through there. Just a little more broadside. Just not doing it. I think there's a chance that makes it. I do not want to mess it up just because we're trying to hurry up and chase Bighorn. Maybe he stops up there? Yeah, he sure did. Out there at about 250. Gonna 0 for 300, name a tiny bit low, I think. Gonna lead him just right. Boy, I don't know. That could have been better for sure. There's no way we just ate him with that. Ran right into the cactus. Really, our shooting today has not been that great. He almost looked uneven in a couple angles. I don't know. Looks decent enough to me. Oh, he's a 107, so very close. 108 flat is diamond. Really like thick horns, nice cutters and stuff. Just falls a little bit shy. Good looking one though. Got me in the heart after all that. We were close. I thought we let him too much. Trying to get the hold under in that case and the lead right. Just didn't do a good job. So actually, we ended up wrapping up the video without anything good. But during our early access live stream, we found this guy. He's 175 to 207. He's not going to be diamond or anything like that, but maybe 180s. Certainly a whole lot better than anything else we had found. So we're going to try to 22 strat this because we had a couple of issues with our 6.5 shooting anyway. Zero that for 150. I kind of thought he'd turn or something. There we go. Taking his time with it, but you can see especially from the side, like with that smaller head and neck, shoulders that we've talked about, those horns as he's walking away just look enormous. He's back drinking, but pretty broadside. Stay there. That should go right through the vitals. He's going down. That's pretty cool. I'm much happier with that than basically how the video had initially ended before the stream. And actually, he's laying right next to where we shot him, so he probably darted one direction and then came back. I would definitely say a double lung, but good looking sheep, way heavier horns than anything else we had gotten. See a little bit of like the rounded off end of the horn. I'm gonna say he's probably still not even 180. High 170s? 175. That's a nice looking Desert Bighorn though. 110 kilo. Still a ways to go to get a diamond. I am gonna tax that. And we're gonna go back to the trophy lodge and kind of take a look at what the ultimate vision is with these guys, but that looks good. Again, like I said, I always felt, you know, in real life seeing just pictures and stuff of bighorn sheep hunts, the Desert Bighorns often look bigger, and I think it's because they have the smaller bodies than the Rocky Mountains, and you see the exact same thing here in the Hunter Call of the Wild. So right in here, are the 2 Rocky Mountain Bighorn diamonds we have. Got the 202 that was a level 5, and the 201 that was a level 4. Not taking this down permanently or anything, but like the ultimate goal will be to have a diamond Desert Bighorn right here next to it, and this really shows it, because we did hunt these on stream a little bit, and a lot of you guys, like, you know, still weren't sure the differences. There you go, way thicker neck, thicker face for sure. As I said, like, you can kind of see, go to the side, the indent in the jaw, not nearly as prevalent on the Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep, and of course when we get one with the same kind of horns, that'll make the Desert Bighorn look that much more impressive. And I wasn't sure about, because these are both gray fur type. Why is that? What? Okay, so in the, I hadn't noticed that. In the lodge, it's showing a snow goose icon. So probably, I don't know, maybe they're going to give Desert Bighorn their own icon eventually. Anyway, what I was getting at is, I do think, yeah, there's a slight difference in the furs for sure. Gray for the Rockies has like more white up the nose. Not quite as much on the desert, at least that's how it appears in this lighting to me. But yeah, as I said, really impressed with these things. Really happy they've come to Rancho. And I hope that's just the beginning. Like Desert Bighorn, maybe Coos deer there on Rancho instead of whitetail. That's probably a tall ask, but things like that, I think really just up the immersion and up the realism here in the Hunter Call of the Wild. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.